Hey everybody, this is Lee Aaron and you're watching Metal Master Kingdom.
Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Alex from Metal Master Kingdom. We are at the Rockpile today and I have the great pleasure of being joined by Canada's rock and metal queen, the one and only Lee Aaron. Lee.
Hey Alex, nice to meet you.
Good to meet you. This is your second of these few Ontario dates that you have going on.
Yeah.
You just played Ottawa last night.
Yeah.
How'd it go?
Oh, it was great. Amazing audience. We always do well in Ottawa, and there's a sort of a legion of regular fans that come out to that particular venue. So it was really, really fun, actually. It was funny because there was a guy, one of the regular fans, the PA hangs quite low, so they actually have caution tape and foam on the bottom of it. He was right underneath the speaker, like literally like moshing. And I'm like, dude, you're going to hit your head. And sure enough,
He hit his head?
Yeah, he was okay though. He comes back and he has another drink in his hand. He's like, I'm okay.
You see those guys all the time.
Yeah.
There might be some guys like that showing up here. Who knows?
Oh, I'm sure. No, it's sold out tonight, so it's going to be a great show.
Sold out?
Yeah, it's sold out. It's going to be a really crazy, hot, packed, busy room up there.
Cool to hear. And also, this is my first time seeing you. So I'm really looking forward.
Oh, wow. Then you're in for a treat.
Oh, yeah. So I wanted to ask you about your latest album, Diamond Baby Blues.
Sure.
And it came out last year. It's great. We've actually reviewed it. And it's a cool tribute to like that 70s bluesy rock sound. And you also covered some blues songs as well on that, right?
Yeah.
It's half covers, half original music. Was that the plan going into it, to do a half and half?
It was, actually. I've never really done very many covers throughout the course of my career. And when we started looking at putting together this album, we just were in a dressing room discussion one night, and we were just sort of talking about songs that had influenced us, songs that we liked throughout the years, and we're like, well, why don't we do an album that pays tribute to some of those tunes that we really like as well? And so we did a little bit of writing. In fact, we picked the cover songs first and then sort of stylized the writing around some of those tunes that we really liked. So, overall, I think the album has a very, very cohesive quality to it.
Yeah.
The next album won't be covers, it will be all original. But because I think a lot of artists, they tend to go in the route of doing covers when they've run out of original ideas. That's not the case. Right. We have 3 really strong songwriters in this band, so that wasn't the issue. But it was really fun to take that material and to completely reinterpret it in our own way, right? Like even the Janet Jackson cover sounds like a Rolling Stones song when it starts. You're kind of going, what is this, right? And so I think that's the real art to doing a cover is being able to completely turn the song inside out and reinterpret it your own way.
Exactly.
So.
And at the same time, you got a fantastic band with you. I mean, your husband has been a part of your band for a few years. He's a drummer, John Cody.
Yeah.
Right? And,
I'm really lucky. I have a great band. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So I wanted to ask you, where did music begin for you? How did it come into your life?
Music really began for me when I was, again, a baby as well. I knew that was a different generation, but my mom sang to us when we were little. My mom was always a singer. She was always involved in church choir, that type of thing. So my mom just sang to us all the time when she was little. And it's funny, my mom passed away. Not funny that she passed away, but she passed away last year. And one of the things that my sister and I were talking about at her memorial was the legacy of her voice and what that had meant to us throughout our lives. So when my mom was singing, she was happy and full of joy, and so that really resonated with me when I was a child. And so when I was literally in kindergarten, I came home and we were doing a Christmas recital, and all the kids in the class were doing some little thing different, like a comedy show or a play, and I just said, I want to sing I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus, because my mom sang it to us when we were little. And my mom said I practiced and I was horrible. But the day of the performance, she said I got on stage and I was note perfect. So, and then throughout my childhood years, my mom listened to a lot of like R&B and soul, Supremes, that type of stuff, and so that really resonated with me when I was younger. And then I got involved in musical theater when I was in my teens, and then later on, when I was about, I don't know, 14, 15 years old, my father and mother both worked at college.
Oh, nice.
And at the point at which they were eliminating their vinyl library and going, believe it or not, to 8-track, which wasn't a format that lasted, but they were switching everything, and they were eliminating their vinyl library. My father just brought home this trunk full of albums one day, and I was like, cool, vinyl, because I mean, I was that kid that was always saving their pennies to buy a single or buy, back then, and I discovered this whole new world of music. It was the Straubs and Heart, the first Heart album, the Dreamboat Alley album, and I was just like blown away.
Yep.
Fleetwood Mac, Elton John. A lot of it was sort of hard pop of that era, but in that pile was Heart and the Runaways, and that really, and Joan, listening to Joan Jett and Lita Ford and that type of stuff really struck me as a young teenage girl. I was like, I want to write rock music and sing rock music, and that's where it all started.
So that was the catalyst for going to the rock.
Sure. Yeah,
and I saw a video on YouTube of you getting up and singing with Lita, singing Cherry Bomb. Was that in Winnipeg?
Yeah. That was it last October or the October before?
A couple of years ago.
Yeah.
It's cool.
So it was the first time we'd ever met, but we were in each other's orbit for a couple of decades, and she knew of me and I knew of her, and we were like, and it was sort of like old friends embracing when we saw each other. We're like, and she's like, we got to do a song together, and I'm like, yeah, let's go out and do Cherry Bomb. So
hopefully that'll maybe plant the seeds of maybe doing a tour together.
Well, I have talked to my agent about us doing some more shows together, because that would be really cool.
It would
actually. Yeah.
Some of the queens of 80s hard rock.
Yeah.
So now another thing that I noticed, a lot of bands from the 70s and the 80s are still going and still going strong. A lot of them are asked how they feel about their fans from the early days that are still coming out to the shows, but they're bringing their kids and passing it along to the younger generation. How's that for you? Do you see a lot of your older fans that were there from the beginning now bringing their kids out?
100%. In fact, there seems to be, besides a generational thing happening where I've got, original Lee Aaron fans bringing their children, grown children out now, there seems to be a whole new generation of young people that are hungering for music that is not all drum samples locked to a grid, overtuned vocals.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Auto-tune.
I can't even listen to some of it.
Me
it's
neither.
So hard.
Me neither.
And so I'm seeing a lot of young people in my front row that are not even been influenced by their parents. They're just hungering for a new genre of music.
Something new.
And even my own kids are 13 and 14. And my son, who just turned 13, the other day I'm looking at we gave him an old school iPod, like it's like a decade old, but he's figured out how to download all music and movies and all this stuff. And I'm going, you got Elton John songs on here. He's like, I love Elton John, Mom. I'm like,
That's
how did you
awesome.
discover Elton John? Because it wasn't through me, actually. And he's like, oh, some of the boys at my school love Elton John. And so now he wants to go to the farewell tour, which is like $500 a ticket. But, so he's discovering this stuff, this music from the 70s and 80s, all by himself, right?
Right.
And I think, there's a whole generation of people wanting stuff that's not synthetic sounding.
Right. And do your kids play any instruments?
Not well.
Not well?
No, my son, we bullied him this year. We're like, okay, you're going to go do grade 7 band. He wanted to do the easiest thing. We're like, no, you're going to play bass. So he's playing a bit of bass, and he's actually not bad. But the thing that I don't like is his teacher is really hung up on technique. It's got to be traditional, classical technique, and he just doesn't. He wants to play everything with 2 fingers, and so he's losing marks for technique, but he actually can play the notes quite well. And Sean is also a music teacher, Sean in my band, and he's like, that is so ridiculous. Just let him play his own way, right?
Yeah. Let him discover, see what he can do.
Exactly. And our daughter, even though she's not playing an instrument, she's very heavily involved in musical theater. She sings and she acts. She's really gifted. Actually, she had her first lead role, like full-on lead last year. She was Belle in Beauty and the Beast. And,
nice.
And my husband and I, she wouldn't let us listen to her practicing downstairs. She didn't want us to hear her sing. when we saw the performance, I was on the verge of tears. She was so good.
Oh, wow.
She's really gifted. So I feel very, very blessed. Yeah.
So you have a great family.
Yeah.
Great family. So another thing I wanted to ask you is, are you still in touch with some of your bandmates that you worked in the '80s, like John Albany, Randy Cook, George Bernhardt? Are you in touch with any of those guys?
We have communicated a little bit on Facebook, but those guys, George is in LA. He was in Rick Springfield's band for a long time. I'm not quite sure what he's doing now. I think a lot of session work. Randy Cook, again, is in a couple of different bands down in LA. I hear from him once in a while on Facebook. And John is in Nashville, has a studio down there. Actually, John and I haven't spoken in quite a few years now, but I always think I gotta get in touch with him. But he's been very tied up with studio work. And he races cars. He always loved fast cars. So
much like Brian Johnson.
Oh my gosh, he used to scare me. We'd drive to gigs together, and he used to have a nitrous tank in his Mustang, and he was very much a speed guy. And
imagine stunt driving to the next gig.
Oh yeah, no, thank you.
Okay.
I'm not that much of a rocker that I want to do risky stuff like that. No.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So there was a period in the 90s into the 2000s where you dipped under the radar of the rock scene and you went more into jazz.
Yeah.
Was that maybe due to the fact that grunge was on the rise?
Well, it was, it sort of correlated to a few things happening at that time in the music industry. One was, the advent of grunge had pretty much annihilated the careers of all the corporate and classic rockers out there.
Yeah.
I took a year off. I had gone bankrupt in 1996 because of, it was a business bankruptcy because of my label and manager, or manager and my lawyer at the time had convinced me to go independent, and we took a huge loan from a variety of different sources to make the next record, and it just didn't pay off in the end because of what had happened.
Right.
It was very, very hard to get anyone to pay attention at that point in time once Soundgarden and Pearl Jam were on the scene, right?
Yeah.
And I, when I had tried to do a couple of other things, I was very labeled by the industry as the metal queen. They just didn't want to. Even though I had done a couple of more modern sounding albums into the 90s that had a bit of that sort of modern edge, that modern kind of grungy edge to it. Because I had loved grunge. I really embraced it. It was another influence for me. But I felt disheartened by the fact that just simply because I was Lee Aaron and that label was attached to me, I couldn't get the media to take notice. I couldn't get any radio play. And I was still quite young at the time. I was still in my 20s. So I went, okay, I took a year off, dealt with that. And when I got back into the scene, I just went back and started singing some old music that I had been influenced by during my musical theater days, which was, old Broadway standards, jazz and blues. And I really enjoyed it. So I just sort of started to do that. And it kind of flew under the radar for a while. And then, but then it just escalated. I had a bunch of media coming out and reviewing it. And the next thing you know, I was touring across Canada, and I played quite a few major jazz festivals across the country at that time. Ottawa, Toronto, Harbourfront Festival. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what was the moment that sparked the fire that made you go back into the rock scene?
Well, in 2004, I did an album that was kind of a jazz hybrid. It was a jazz pop kind of album, which I really feel that my root, or what I do best is I do hard rock pop.
Yeah.
I do hard rock music with real strong melodic, big hooky choruses, melodic influence, and so that album was a jazz pop album. And then our daughter was born in 2004. I actually toured up till about 6.5 months pregnant. I flew back from Newfoundland and was crazy. When I got off the flight, I couldn't even get my shoes on. My feet were so swollen, and our daughter was born. And then I took a decade-long hiatus, really, to just raise our kids. Because I didn't want to be that mom that was sticking them with a nanny all the time. And so when I always knew I would make another rock record. I was just kind of waiting for that whole the cycle of music to return again. And in 2015 we started writing. 2015 we started writing and doing some recording. 2016 Fire Gasoline came out, and And we put out this latest one, Diamond Baby Blues. And I have a live album coming out in the next couple months,
nice.
live in Germany.
Oh, very nice.
It's called Power Soul Rock and Roll, live in Germany. And it was some recordings that we did about 1.5 years ago when we were touring there.
Nice.
The best of 2 nights, and it's a really strong album. So that's the next thing on the agenda.
Very
so,
nice.
Yeah.
We're all looking forward to hearing it.
Yeah.
So now I want to do like a quick lightning round, so just fun, quick fire questions.
Okay.
If
All right. I hate these. I hate being
you
put on
hate
the
them?
spot. But go ahead. Yeah.
If you don't want to do it,
It's okay. We can.
You sure? Okay. What's the last movie you saw in the theaters?
Oh. Sorry, someone's phone is going off. Am I hearing? Oh no, I'm hearing a band upstairs. Do you know why I'm having a hard time remembering this? Is because I only go to theaters to really see new movies with our son, because we have a home theater, and we just don't really go out to cinema anymore.
Okay.
It would have been probably like Venom or Black Panther or something like that I would have seen with my son. I think it was Venom.
That's fine. Cool.
Yeah.
What's the one song you wish you wrote?
Oh,
That may be a tough one because you may have like so many out there.
Kashmir.
Kashmir.
Led Zeppelin.
Well, a lot of people pick Zeppelin, and it's understandable. Do you have any vices?
I'm sure that I do. I'm a little bit neurotic, and I think I drive my husband and some people crazy because when I'm focused on, I'm a bit ADD, and when so I'm either really distracted or really focused. And when I'm really focused on something, you can't get my attention, and it drives my family crazy. If I'm in the middle of like writing or something, they're like, "Mom," and I'm like, I have blinders on. Yeah, so it's a little bit of a neuroses of mine. Yeah,
That's right. Coffee or tea?
Oh, I like both actually. Chai tea.
Chai tea?
Yeah.
Very nice. I'm a tea guy as well.
Yeah,
I can't do coffee that much, but I try it once in a while, but it's not my thing.
I need one big solid coffee to wake up, and then it's tea for the rest of the day.
Okay.
Earl Grey, bergamot, Earl Grey, or chai is
There you go.
my flavor.
Okay, so last question, and we'll wrap up. So you have a bunch of shows coming up all across the country coming up this year. I'll most likely see you again this summer at Roxodus.
Roxodus, it's going to be
Most likely we'll see how my schedule works out. But as far as like new music, are you working on new stuff?
We are actually. We have a bunch of ideas percolating right now. What we tend to do as a band is we all work on stuff individually, and then we'll come together. I think we're doing a big writing session in April because we're bi-coastal, right? Sean's from Ontario, so we'll bring him out usually around a show, and then we'll head into a bunch of writing, and then I'll take the stuff and woodshed for melodic melodies and lyrics, and then I probably before the end of the year we'll have a new album, a studio album done as well.
Very nice.
That's the next.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we're all looking forward to the live album and also the new music as well. Okay, Lee, thanks so much.
Alex,
it was a great
fun.
honor to talk to you.
Yeah.
Do you have any closing words to the fans out there?
Oh, just that I don't really know what to say. I'm enjoying music probably more than I ever have before, and I have no plans of slowing down. So there you go. Rock on. Rock on.
So people, if that's all you need to know, come see Lee Aaron live if she's coming to your town, and pick up her albums, pick out any of them, any albums, and see what she's all about. Come to a show, pick up the new live album when it releases, and also keep your eye out for the new music coming soon. I'm Alex, you're watching MidleMasterKingdom.com. We'll see you next time.